It's over. No. Wait. Nope, it's done. If that's real, if that's recent, it's over. It's already happening. This was the appetite that like certain countries have for death and destruction, or like the tolerance that they have, not appetite, but the tolerance that they have for death and destruction in their own backyard. Okay? A country like Israel that has positioned itself as like a nation state that has laptop jobs and a nation state that has marketing jobs, and where you can wear your capri pants, and maybe a couple neighborhoods over you got like some religious fundamentalists spitting on tourists, Christian tourists or whatever. But like ultimately Tel Aviv is supposed to be this like beacon of liberalism, like a Western liberal democracy. The entire country is very Eurocentric. The way that they've designed it is very Eurocentric, and it comes with the comforts of being in the auspices of Western, being in the comforts of like a Western nation. It's smack dab in the middle of this region. From inside of the Green Line, it was to bomb Gaza. So while they're fucking being bombed, like, these motherfuckers are still conducting their ethnic cleansing campaign. Talking about chatters. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
10 to 15% of Iranian.
That. So they can only use missiles.
Blow up Israel and purchase time. And I think the U.S. Shares the intel. I know they share the intel because we share intel with each other. If it's fake talks, obviously not. If Iran will relinquish...
couldn't bring...
I am believe that Fox News is biased in favor of Palestinians. You are, I'm sorry, the most fucking...
Our very survival to
play there between the UK Prime Minister and the US President, but I can tell you behind the scenes, it seems there are some differences.
Because Financial Times is actually doing real coverage.
Our existence one way or the other. The Jewish people haven't traveled over time this great odyssey of 3,500 years with some of the worst tragedies meted out to any people during their existence. We're not going to have a second Holocaust. We'll do whatever is necessary to prevent that. And President Trump has been a terrific friend and a terrific leader, and I trust his judgment. And we have, together, we know what needs to be done in order to assure that those two twin threats to our very survival, to the survival and the peace of the world, are removed.
So are you going to target the Supreme Leader?
We're gonna let you have that information in a little while. They're starting already.
Mr. President, do you agree to the European push to apply more sanctions on Russia? Does the US support that?
Well, Europe is saying that, but they haven't done it yet. Let's see them do it first.
And he keeps going back and forth on whether he will join the fight. They're going. Okay? I don't know how many fucking... I don't know if there's reports on the fucking Navy eating steak and lobster for dinner yet. I don't know if that's come out, but that's like a more reliable indication than the Pentagon pizza index. But it's over.
There are quite a few British voters who worry we side more with the Russians over the Ukraine war. Can you reassure me that is not the case?
You know what I say? Saving lives. I only care about saving lives. We have nothing to do with it except that...
I think Iran is going to block the Hormuz Strait as well, which is, of course, a tremendously important area where the overwhelming majority of oil tankers go through. And America is gearing up for a battle against them.
The money is not the thing in this case. It's 5,000 young people are being killed every week in Russia, Ukraine. And if I can stop that, I'll be very happy. They're Ukrainian and they're Russian. So you could say, what am I doing? But I'd like to see if I could stop.
Would you consider going
that Israel can fully eliminate the threat that Iran poses, this nuclear threat that they pose, without the United States military help?
Who said that?
No, I'm asking if you believe they can without
it doesn't relevant. Something's going to happen.
Mr. President, would you consider traveling to the Mideast as part of any talks if it would help broker a deal in Iran?
Yeah, but I think we're doing pretty well. We're talking.
You don't think you'll
We
need
have a
to?
thing called a telephone, so we're talking.
Mr. President, do you think you
It's
can...
always better to talk in person.
Mr. President, do you want to see regime change in Iran?
I want to see no nuclear weapon in Iran, and we're well on our way to making sure that happens.
We've had a discussion about that this morning. There's
in the
G7 absolute clarity in relation to the nuclear program. We do not want to see it.
Mr. President, millions of people are so anxious about...
What? The UK is very well protected. You know why?
Oh, no.
Because
Is
I
this
like them.
new?
That's why.
No, this is from 2 days ago.
Thank you very much. The Prime Minister's done a great job. I want to just tell that to
I don't know if this is like from a different time or not, but it's over. Nope, it's done. If that's real, if that's recent, it's over. It's already happening. They served steak and lobster a couple days ago. Then yeah, what more fucking indication do you need that we're gearing up for war? Yeah, USS Nimitz is heading to the Middle East, defense officials say. This is the most homophobic thing we could do, by the way. Sending yet another carrier in the Navy filled to the brim with our gayest of troops. This is homophobia through and through. I'm sick and tired of this, okay? I'm sick and tired of refusing to recognize in the month of June, nonetheless, Pride Month, and we're throwing our gayest troops in the line of fire for Israel. It is really fucked up.
What more has he said there?
Yeah, calling for Iran to sign a deal and do it now. So they should have signed it before, but not suggesting at this stage, it seems, that there should be a stop to the bombardment. Iran's position is clear. They would come back to the table if there was an end to the Israeli military action. And reading between the lines, and we have to do a fair bit of this here because some of the clear questions are not being answered, but it seems that the US position is that Iran should come back to the negotiating table while under fire. And you saw a relatively friendly display there between the UK Prime Minister and the US President. But I can tell you behind the scenes, it seems there are some differences of
video is
what
old,
the
right?
G7
That's
should
not
do on
recent.
this. Whether the G7 should have a joint statement calling for de-escalation. That certainly is something that Prime Minister Starmer at the beginning of the day was saying was definitely the best way forward, and he was confident that could happen. Well, what we're hearing is that US officials, for now, and these talks continue, they go on all day Tuesday as well.
Oh, the fucking parody account, the Iran parody account. Stop sending me that. That's not official, okay? Who knows what kind of fucking videos that they're posting.
If there's no statement backed by the US calling for de-escalation, that's the only thing.
That's all old shit. That's not new.
Israel might listen to. So it is significant. I think you have...
What does lobster and steak mean? Lobster and steak means that you're about to go to war, or at least get deployed to a much more get deployed towards a military position that will put your life on the line. It's there's like a morale boost that they offer a morale boost that they offer before deployment, almost like a final meal.
What power does the G7 really have? Because I don't think Prime Minister Netanyahu...
This video is not from Tel Aviv right now,
and
chatter.
even if they did have that statement, would he even listen to that?
I don't think this video is from Tel Aviv right now.
One interesting and important question that was asked of the U.S. president there, James, by one of the reporters, is whether he wanted regime change in Iran.
That doesn't even look like Tel Aviv.
He didn't answer it. The only thing he said was he wanted Iran not to have nuclear weapons. What did you make of that?
Yeah, and that's been his position for a long time now. That is his
Those strikes were from the Negev Desert, one I was talking about from Operation True Promise 2 last year.
For example, the recent attack on Iranian state TV. Is this just an attack aimed at Iran's nuclear infrastructure, or is it aimed at something else? And we've certainly been getting messages from some in Israel that they would like regime change, and you just have to look at social media.
This is the Minister of Defense in Pakistan tweeting at the Shah's son.
On the right of US politics, there are many in the sort of neoconservative wing of...
Wait, this is the Minister of Defense in Pakistan tweeting at the Shah's son. If Iranian people are energized and motivated according to you, show some balls and go back and lead them and remove the regime. Put your money where your arse is, bloody parasitical imperial whore. Is Iran also belling? Or are they just not allowed to have news because vibes? Wait, what? Channel 13 confirmed of IDF command under their hospital. The existence of a fortified military command center beneath Ichilov Hospital in Tel Aviv. Israel had previously fabricated similar claims to justify the destruction of Al-Shifa. Wait, what?
As the main headquarters for Hamas's terrorist activity. This IDF animation posted in late October claims to represent a Hamas tunnel system underneath the hospital. But having been inside Al-Shifa since early Wednesday, Israel's yet to produce evidence of the tunnels.
This is what they found.
Israel also released its own 7-minute video, which BBC Verify has analyzed.
I mean, I don't know if there's a military command center under a hospital, but yeah, of course, they have tunnels under their hospitals as well. Every hospital has tunnels, dude. The ones that's just a photo of that's just video footage of an underground hospital. The thing is, the hospital tunnels that they showed under Al-Shifa were built by Israel. That's why they knew there were underground facilities in fucking Al-Shifa, because they had built the underground facility. Of course, hospitals have fucking underground facilities and tunnels. Yeah. Of course they do. Reason to blow up the fucking hospital. That is psychotic. Yeah, it's called a basement. Anyway, BB in this fucking convo made a couple insane statements. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I just want to show you this part that was pretty fucking damning. Prime Minister Netanyahu says if the U.S. helps Israel assassinate Iran's supreme leader, it will help end the conflict and make the Middle East great again.
U.S. officials tell us that the president flatly rejected a plan, an opportunity that the Israelis had to take out the supreme leader. Do you understand his concern? My understanding is his concern is that this would escalate the conflict beyond where it is already.
It's not going to escalate the conflict. It's going to end the conflict. We've had half a century of conflict spread by this regime that terrorizes everyone in the Middle East, has bombed the Aramco oil fields in Saudi Arabia, is spreading terrorism and subversion and sabotage everywhere. That's the forever war is what Iran wants. And
That's crazy. You can't say that. As Israel, you're the last person. As the head of the Israeli state, you are the last person to say this, okay? There is no one on the planet that is less equipped to say something like this. I've often said everything Israel claims is pure projection. They do tenfold what they claim others are doing. They will say, they want endless death and destruction and destabilization. They want that times a million. Okay, Israel wants that times a fucking million. It is incredibly annoying to have to entertain this song and dance over and over again, but I do think that a lot of people don't believe it.
Bringing us to the brink of nuclear war. In fact, what Israel is doing is preventing this, bringing an end to this aggression. And we can only do so by standing up to the forces of evil. Look, democracies have had to learn this lesson. You know, they faced a tyrannical regime, a radical, fanatic regime. For 40 years, I've been saying Actually, 3 years after the establishment of this radical Islamist Ayatollah regime in Tehran, I said that the greatest danger, not only to the survival of my country.
Who do you think genuinely believes this? Like, actually, I think due to the unprecedented death and destruction that Americans have seen and Western society has seen coming from Israel and Gaza specifically, there is a much smaller number of people who believe this now than ever before. But, you know, Americans are a incredibly stupid nation of people. Half of the fucking country thinks that the guy who assassinated Democratic lawmakers was actually secretly woke in Antifa. So who knows? Like, Americans are uniquely stupid. Our literacy rate is 76% or something. So we are a tremendously dumb and incredibly violent nation, unfortunately.
But to the peace of the world is Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons. And they are on the brink of achieving that. So imagine what they're doing now without nuclear weapons. Chanting death to America without nuclear weapons. Imagine what will happen if they had nuclear weapons and the ICBMs, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, to deliver it to every place on Earth. We're preventing the...
Yeah, dude, Iran's going to nuke the planet. Like, Iran's not even going to nuke Israel, dude. Shut the fuck up.
The most terrific war imaginable, and we're bringing peace to the Middle East. And I believe that after our action, we're going to be able to bring the Middle East to new heights that nobody even imagined. You know, make the Middle East great again. Make it truly great.
Iran with current weapons never attacked Israel directly. Yeah, until this last Operation True Promise 1, 2, and 3. That was a new meta. After Israel struck Iran, Iranian soil. Yeah. We're going to make the Middle East great again. Worth remembering Netanyahu's 2002 testimony to Congress urging the U.S. to invade Iraq based on lies. Let's see if he's using the same narrative here.
A tyrant who is feverishly trying to acquire nuclear weapons. And today the United States must destroy the same regime because a nuclear-armed Saddam will place the security of our entire world at risk. It is simply not reflecting the reality to assume that Saddam isn't feverishly working to develop nuclear weapons as we speak. If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Principles of real estate, the 3 L's, location, location, location. The 3 principles of winning the war on terror are the 3 W's, winning, winning, and winning. The more victories you amass, the easier the next victory becomes. The first victory in Afghanistan makes the second victory in Iraq that much easier. The second victory in
ISIS, enormous positive reverberations. I mean, it was positive for Israel.
Iraq will make the third victory that much easier. Less than dismantling his regime will do. Because Saddam's nuclear program has fundamentally changed in those 2 decades. He no longer needs one large reactor to produce the deadly material necessary.
Like, I'm sorry, guys, if you fucking believe a lick of if you think that there is anything that he's saying that's truthful, you're the dumbest guy on the planet. Okay? These motherfuckers have been lying, and the American government has been lying in the same exact ways in perpetuity. Okay? We have to go to war. There's nothing we can do. They got endless weapons. They will train those weapons on us. We have to kill them. We have to kill them dead. It'll be super positive. Yeah, super positive for the interest of the military-industrial complex, super positive for oil producers, super positive for Halliburton, super positive for capital, for sure.
Sorry, for atomic bombs. He can produce it in centrifuges the size of washing machines that can be hidden throughout the country. And I want to remind you that Iraq is a very big country. It is not the size of Monte Carlo. It is a big country. And I believe that even free and unfettered inspections will not uncover these portable manufacturing sites of mass death.
Breaking, Haifa refinery shuts down after Iranian missile strike. Israel's Bazan refinery group has shut down all operations after a direct Iranian missile strike on its Haifa Bay facility yesterday, causing major infrastructure damage. The announcement came hours before Iran launched the 9th wave of its Operation True Promise 3. Bazan reported that key power plants supplying electricity and steam for the complex was significantly damaged, forcing a full shutdown of the refinery and all of its subsidiaries. 3 workers were killed after a stairwell collapsed in a shelter. Thick smoke and extreme heat left them with little chance of survival. All were residents of Haifa and the Kiryat. The shutdown was first revealed in a stock exchange disclosure required by law. Israeli security officials reportedly had not announced the attack publicly before then. We saw it, but we saw it not because of the Israeli media reporting on it, but because people were literally fucking filming it in and around the area, in spite of the Israeli military censor's best practice here. And on top of that, they revealed it in a stock exchange disclosure. So now we know Bazan produces refined fuel for transport, agriculture, industry, and domestic use, and handles hazardous substances, including benzene and known carcinogen. Repairs are expected to take 10 days. Environmental officials say the strike confirms longstanding fears. 2 of the 3 missiles and the whole system collapsed. We warned of this scenario years ago. Iran says the strike was retaliation for Israeli attacks on civilian areas in Tehran. The Haifa refinery supplies 65% of Israel's refining capacity, making it one of the country's most strategic energy sites. A leak of benzene is so good for the lungs. I mean, it does smell tasty. Trump responds to Tucker Carlson's criticism. He says no free clout. Wow. Donald Trump takes a jab at Tucker Carlson after he criticized Trump's support for Israel's attack on Iran. I don't know what Tucker Carlson is saying. Let him go get a television network and say it so that people listen. Oh my God. He said no free clout. You're cloutless. You're bitchless, Tucker. Oh my God.
6 years, right?
6 years.
And he's done what they haven't been able to do. So he's done really a very good job.
I hate this animal so much. Like, I can't, dude, I almost called him Keir Stalin. Keir Starmer is so fucking pathetic. He is so servile. He is such a fucking weenie hut junior little cuck sitting on the cuck chair being like, yes, England is also at the table. Imperial conquest is a fantastic opportunity for us to show all of our mighty weapons. I hate this motherfucker so much. He is so fucking pathetic. They are breaking missiles have been launched by Iran towards Israel, will arrive in a few minutes. Also, for the record, they literally did a hostile takeover of the Labor Party at the behest of Israel. That is a real thing. Using anti-Semitism as a cudgel to dismantle any kind of anti-Zionist sentiment that existed within the Labor Party at a time when the Labor Party was at its peak popularity. They rat-fucked the Labor Party from within. One of the major players that played a formative role in this was outed as a pedophile only a couple months ago, okay? Labor Friends of Israel guy who was literally investigated for pedophilia. Like that, they crafted an internal coup within the fucking Labor Party, and Keir Starmer is one of the recipients and one of the most responsible members for it. So if you hate the modern Labor Party, remember, Israel played a role in this.
I don't know what Tucker Carlson is saying. Let him go get a television network and say it so that people listen. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, he said no free clout. What is this, Brandonization? Trump drops what PM Starmer calls a very important document. POTUS jokes, it's a little windy out here. Calls it an EU trade agreement, but it's confirmed to be an agreement with the UK. What is this? Obviously, America carries the greatest moral stain for everything here, but there's something especially disgusting about the United Kingdom going so far as to provide targeting data for Israel solely they can claim they're still a major world power. Oh yeah, this is, he's talking about the Cyprus intelligence missions that the Royal Air Force engages in. Biden bought his first ticket to hell a long time ago, but he logged this last one because of his personal Zionist bloodlust and spite. For Trump, it was for Miriam's checkbook and his pre-existing neocon impulses, but for Starmer, it's just an attempt to look important. Missiles incoming. Sirens are now lit up in Tel Aviv. Oh my God, AP having the chat live is crazy. There's so many Turks in here saying Allah Baba geliyor. Aha geliyor Hüseyin Alak. Füze gönderiyorlar İsrail'e. Yine. Yeah. Keir Starmer's personal motivation for being for playing an active role in Israel's ethnic cleansing campaign is so crazy, because like there's no real what the fuck. Oh, interceptors off the side of the building that we saw. Wait. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was anti-air. That was anti-air that fucking. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are they fucking. Did they actually hack these? What the hell's going on? That's a misfire. Wait, why did this stop? Camera quickly turned away. I'm confused. Camera very quickly turned away and stopped looking in that direction. Look. Look. You can see it from the building. One of them is deployed right here, and it's supposed to be an interceptor. And then it literally lands back in Tel Aviv. That interceptor was an 18-year-old major general. Don't laugh. I don't know. Are the missile autists in the chat? Wait, no. The camera operator doesn't suck ass. I think they stopped the feed. It's no longer live. Sirens cut out as well. No, they cut the feed. They cut the feed. They're not showing real-time footage any longer. Oh my God. They cut it, and then I think this is splice footage. Like, look. Look. Look. No fucking way. No fucking way. It is. There are some pixels moving if you look closely. No. I'm saying there are pixels moving, but I feel like it's just. Wait. Maybe I'm crazy. Nearly all YouTube live streams showing Tel Aviv and Haifa skylines are being taken offline, reportedly at the request of Israeli authorities. No! That's crazy. They're all showing the same footage now.
And we will, of course, keep a close eye on the situation and what's happening over Israeli skies here on Al Jazeera.
Chat. There's probably a fucking loop. I'm saying it feels like they flicked the camera. They flicked the camera after the Iron Dome interceptor failing, and they flicked it and then most likely put a loop on. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Now the camera is moving again. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. CNBC's feed is at a different angle with different lighting too. I don't think there's anything weird going on, dude. It's just a live stream. If I still worked in broadcast, I would have hooked you up with some live feeds. I don't know why the siren stopped. Maybe the missiles, incoming missile stopped. I don't know. Haifa police opened an investigation after receiving reports of individuals filming the Haifa port from a hotel balcony. Officers confiscated the cameras and some of the photographers were questioning. Details were handed to the General Security Service for further security review. Yeah, they're also clamping down on read the AP pinned on the live stream. Our live streams are a view into some of the biggest events and moments every day. Donate to support AP journalism. What? That's the pin. What? They said the sirens are set 90 seconds and don't go for the duration of the strike. Live link. What is this? It's not loading. CNN. This isn't new. What? No, this isn't new, bro. Get the fuck out of here. This is looped up too. Guys, come on, dude. Oh my God. Exercise a little bit of fucking caution.
A regime that is quite entrenched after 45 years of being in power.
There's like hella bot accounts that just try to fucking generate traffic by putting fake shit up.
He would know that Netanyahu.
The CNN 18 accounts, some of them are actually CNN live feeds that they're restreaming illegally, but a lot of them are often just like fake shit.
And as we're talking, Marwan, we've heard another air raid siren in Tel Aviv there, and what is being described as a misfired air defense rocket. Now, obviously, so much of what happens next.
I can't believe we watched that live.
Hinges on the United States and on President Trump himself. We've heard mixed messages from the administration. How do you assess Trump's position right now? Is he's of course campaigned against being, he wanted to be less interventionist. He's campaigned against wars in the Middle East. He said the U.S. was not involved in the strikes against Iran. Do you think it's going to stay that way?
Look, the problem with Trump is that he's not versed in foreign policy. He doesn't understand strategic calculus.
I'm on AP, chat. Calm down.
Other person. He's surrounded by yes men.
Is there a fucking delay?
He's certainly influenced by Netanyahu and his Israel lobby, including
test the delay. Subscribe now.
Would like to see Iran annihilate
for $5 or $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime.
He's going to get the right advice or the wrong one.
Okay, there is no delay in the chat.
At the G7, he'd probably hear a bit more sobering advice. It's not to say that his European partners are, holier than thou. They're not. In fact, if you allow me, I'm just going to take a few seconds to give you a bit of a perspective.
Right.
Regardless what one thinks about the Iranian regime.
I don't know what happens to misfired munitions. I don't know if it explodes before impact with the ground. No, there was just a plane drone, but you missed it.
The fate of the Middle East, the fate of Iran, 70 years after they did that, when they changed a government democratically elected in Iran in 1953. 70 years later, we have a British prime minister and an American president, the same type of characters that try to dominate, try to rob, try to redraw the Middle East. Then we are living those moments again. A bunch of white imperialists trying to redraw the Middle East with an attitude of an holier than thou, that they are supporting an ally, which is actually an implant for self-defense, when we all know
that definitely
that these
exploded.
are the same
you can
colonial
see
imperial powers
like
that tried to run and divide the Middle East just a century earlier.
Or maybe not.
It's kind of eerie to
maybe
watch,
it was more so the flares as it was going down.
Talk about how Israel has a right to self-defense and how the French and the British are silent and complicit, and how the Americans are smug and say how excellent it is that Iran is being destroyed. Again, you don't have to be a fan of the Iranian regime to know that this is going to lead to huge pent-up violence in the Middle East. There are no victories in the Middle East. We've seen it happen and again over a century. Every time Israel says it won a war, it came out victorious the past 70 years.
Right.
For some reason, it's fighting more and more wars.
And you know, what is also interesting here is that President Trump seems to have failed on all the big foreign policy issues that he promised he would solve quickly. They all seem to have gotten worse, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's Russia, Ukraine.
There's no doubt that the false promise that I will resolve everything in 48 hours and 24 hours, of course, is all wishful thinking. And he said, well, wasn't serious, and all the rest of it. Not really understanding that these are very complex issues that have history. It's not a question of, as Biden framed it, terrorism against democracy or tyrannies against democracies. None of that. It's a far more complicated issues. And the way, again, Netanyahu just framed it, we just heard it in his interview on APC, saying that the Iranian regime is this and that. Yes, the Iranian regime was a destabilizing force in the Middle East, there's no doubt. But the person who is saying this is indicted on criminal charges by the world's highest court, even corruption in his own courts. And his country and himself have been invading and occupying countries like there is no tomorrow. So to frame these things as democracies versus tyrannies, this is just another pretext, another tool of colonial imperial powers trying to redraw, trying to impose their will on the Middle East, trying to do whatever they need to do in order to stay on top. And this is not right. There's something wrong about trying to frame these things while at the same time defending or praising a country for unprovoked attack against another country. Unprovoked against another country. Right. Iran, again, fan or not, is a signatory to the NPT. It does not have nuclear weapons. The director of national intelligence of the United States said they are not pursuing nuclear weapons. Israel is a nuclear power, is not a signatory to the NPT, is invading countries, is a genocidal government, at least as far as Gaza is concerned. And yet, we see all of these things being twisted around as if there's a Western Israeli holier-than-thou attitude and everything in the Middle East is rotten and evil. This is just wrong. You're wrong.
As always, very good to hear your views. Thank you so much for your perspective, Marwan Bashar, our senior political analyst. I just want to show our viewers now some of the images we were seeing just a moment ago from Israel when the air raid sirens went off. And then we saw what I thought looked like a flare, but it was actually an interceptor missile that misfired shortly after the air raid siren went off. There it is. And this is all coming after Iran said it would retaliate following the attack on its state television building in Tehran.
Tel Aviv and interceptors, Semitically, earlier today.
Most intense missile attack in history on Israeli soil. So we're keeping a close eye on the skies over Tel Aviv and other
The Iron Dome, earlier today, deployed an interceptor that ended up striking Tel Aviv anti-Semitically. We will find out the anti-Semites responsible for the anti-Semitism coming from the Tamir interceptors.
However, has about 100,000 more reservists. Israel possesses 340 combat-capable aircraft. Those include several advanced U.S.-made F-35 fighter jets.
The Iron Dome is
Iran
Hamas.
mostly operates an older fleet of Russian jets. Among Israel's anti-missile systems at work, there is the Iron Dome that's designed to take down short-range rockets, usually coming from Gaza. There's also the David Sling and the Arrow systems. They are domestically manufactured equipment designed to take down medium to long-range ballistic and cruise missiles. In Iran, the IRGC says they've designed their own air defense system called the Bavar 373, which has enhanced detection and tracking of aircraft and long-range missiles. Tehran also has two other systems, including a Russian-made one. But neither of these three systems are capable of tracking stealth fighter jets. Let's discuss all this further now with Colin Clark, who's the Director of Research at the Soufan Center.